Torah guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation.
Shalom, 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 Yasharal and Yahuah. Hear the word of Yahuah by the prophet Hezekiah. Babylon is fallen. The song is entitled Freedom Wins 1.5. I don't own the rights to this music. Listen, Yasharal and Yahuah, grafted in Gentiles into the body of Hamashiach and everyone that is under the sound of my voice. Babylon is falling. Yahuah is sending plagues. He is sending pestilence. He is sending storms. He is sending earthquakes. He is sending eruptions of volcanoes. Yahuah is shaking the foundations of this world. Babylon is falling. Yahuah, in the name of Yahushua Hamashiach, I give you praise for your Ruach HaKodesh. Yahuah, take the reins of my lips and the reins of my tongue and reign. Yahuah, I thank you for sealing me with the Ruach HaKodesh. For you said, from my belly shall flow rivers of living water. Yahuah, I thank you that I have received the seal. I thank you that you have established me in you by the witness of Yahushua Hamashiach, the Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood. Yahuah, I give you praise. I submit myself to your Ruach. Yahuah, may I not cause anyone to stumble. May no one be turned out of the way. May no one come up lame. Yahuah, in the name of Yahushua Hamashiach, I pray that your word would be a lamp unto their feet and a light unto their pathway. I pray that the entrance of thy word would give them light. It would give understanding to the simple. Yahuah, you declared, how can a young man, young woman cleanse their ways? By taking heed to your Torah. Yahuah, in the name of Yahushua Hamashiach, allow thy Torah to bring life to light. Yahuah, in the name of Yahushua Hamashiach, I pray. Yahuah, I thank you in the name of Yahushua Hamashiach for the seal. I thank you, Yahuah, for giving me an opportunity to be born again of the water and the Ruach HaKodesh, following Yahushua Hamashiach's example. Yahuah, I give you praise. I give you praise. I give you praise. I give you praise. Yahuah, in the name of Yahushua Hamashiach, I pray that you would take the reins of my lips, Yahuah. Take the reins of my lips, Yahuah. Yahuah, I want to say what you want me to say. I want to say everything you want me to say. In the name of Yahushua Hamashiach, I pray. Listen, we made a deal. The nation made a deal. Yasharal made a deal. They made a deal with Yahuah. They were established in a covenant that was eternal. They violated it. But Yahuah honors his word. Yahuah honors his word. If Yahuah said he was going to do a thing, he's going to do it. If Yahuah says he's going to do a thing, he's going to do it. Listen, man of Yah, woman of Yah. Yahuah has made a promise, right? To redeem his people, Yasharal and Yahuah, to redeem those of the other nations who received the witness. He made a promise. He's waiting for them to be sealed. There are those that Yahuah is still trying to cry loud and despair not, to help them to understand that they must receive the witness. The Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood. They must be born again of the water and the Ruach HaKodesh. Listen, you can't escape this, right? You can't escape this. Listen, my Aki so beautifully brought it out on the Shabbat in reference to how it's our heart that is changed through faith in Yahushua HaMashiach. Us receiving the blood that Yahuah had provided as an atonement, right, which satisfies the heart issue. Your heart issue has to be satisfied And the only way Yahuah will gain satisfaction from your heart is if the blood of Yahusha is applied. And you receive this witness in Emunah. You believe the word that he said that you must be born again. Born again of the water, being baptized, right? Born again of the Ruach HaKodesh, having the life of Yahuah come on the inside of you, right? The witness of Yahusha, the Ruach HaKodesh, right? And you got to understand the necessity of receiving all of this in Emunah. For without the shedding of blood, there's no remission of sins. Without the shedding of the blood of Yahusha, your heart can't be cleansed. Yahuah said, yeah, he's going to give you a new heart. Yeah, Yahuah said he was going to replace the old stony heart of flesh with the heart of flesh. That he was going to give you a new heart, right? But how is that done? How does your heart change from the heart of your forefathers? Right? How do your heart change its condition from the heart of your forefathers? Right? Right? The heart changes through the witness, through the blood of Yahusha. Right? You have to receive Yahusha's blood, the atonement. And see, Hebrews, that's culture for us. That's culture for us. That's the fulfillment of Pesach and Shavuot and atonement and Pentecost. All of the feast days are fulfilled in this witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. It's culture for us, right? The other nations, it's not culture for them. All they needed to do was receive the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach and Emunah, right? Yeah, they need to keep the Torah. Yeah, they need to keep the commandments, right? But see, it's our culture. We understood, our forefathers understood that they needed to keep Torah, but they didn't. Because their hearts were stony. The hearts of flesh were wicked, diabolical. And only faith in the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, only that Lamb of Yahuah would satisfy the sin issue, the stony heart issue. You have to receive it in Emunah. You have to receive the atoning blood of Yahusha in Emunah that satisfies the sin issue. Without the shedding of blood, there's no forgiveness of sin. Our forefathers, they had to offer sacrifices in order to have their sins satisfied. But they had to offer them continually because you know what? Their hearts were wicked. Yahuah gave them this method to cover their sins until the time that he should reveal his son, their kinsman redeemer, who would satisfy the sin issue. He would once and for all establish this righteousness in us through faith in the blood of Yahushua, in the faith of his blood, Yahusha's blood. He knew. So man, if y'all want me, y'all, you gotta get a clue. You better get a clue. You better get a clue. You better understand what you're in. You better understand this witness. Listen. I love Yahuah. I love Yahuah, right? I love Yahuah, right? And Yahuah has bought me through a hurricane, through a storm, right? And, you know, Yahuah told me, right, even before the storm came, right? And it was originally supposed to come directly, right, along the lines of Sarasota, right? Right? But Yahuah told me, he said, by his Ruach HaKodesh, watch how I deliver you. Right? He said it twice. He says, watch how I deliver you. Right? He said, let it be a sign unto you. Right? Let you understand by what you see. my ability and my capacity to keep you. To keep you. Right? Right? Now see, my witness is, right? You would put a bubble over my mouth. He put a bubble over my house. Because not anything fell on, took flight out of my yard. Even my pots. My plastic pots. Right? I'm watching stuff in everybody's yard all over. Not mine. Right? You put a bubble over my house. Y'all don't hear me. Right? I show pictures of my next door neighbor's house. Right? She got this oak tree that is humongous. It was snatched up by the roots and put on her house. Right? I have a garden bed, an elevated garden bed, right? That had topsoil on it. It was kind of heavy, but you know, it wasn't anchored in the ground. It sat on the ground, right? And I was cutting the grass this morning, and Yahuah said, look at your bed. Your plant bed. I'm looking at my plant bed. He said, now look at the house where I came through with the tree and took it out of the ground. I said, you put a bubble on my house. Because the same force of wind should have took that bed and made it airborne and took it into my house or another person's house, it should have been gone. Listen, it was like a locomotive coming through at times in that house. There were gusts of wind that sounded like a locomotive rolling through the... You would put a bubble on my house. Listen, I went in and closed the door and waited for the indignation to pass. Listen, I anointed every window, every door entrance, and I asked Yahuah, I said, Yahuah, put a covering over my house. I thank you. Yahuah told me exactly what I told you. He said, listen, watch how I deliver you. He said it twice. Watch how I deliver you. Right? He said, let it be a sign to you. Listen, Yasharal and Yehuda, you better have some emunah. You better understand and recognize what it means to have the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, right? You better recognize what it means to be his, right? You better recognize, right? Because, if you don't have emunah and you don't trust Yahuah as a deliverer, right? Right? You ain't got no guarantees. Yahuah responds to emunah. He responds to those who have faith in the witness, the Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood, who cleave to the Torah of truth, who allow the Torah of truth to renew, refresh their minds, who causes the Torah of truth to establish them in emunah, because faith come by hearing, and hearing by the Besorah, the Torah of Yahuah. Yahuah is a deliverer. He's a deliverer. He says, I'm like this. If Yahuah told me that he wanted me to go through as a witness, he told me to watch and see. And now you know what I did now. This is what I did now. Because it struck during the daytime. I opened the curtains. I lifted up the blinds in the back room. It it was so, my wife, she didn't even want to go in that room to look at it, because she started seeing it. She came out. She says, I can't, I'm scared to go in. Yahuah says, watch. Tell me the wise, you see how he delivers me. So I watched the trees bend and not break. I watched the winds gust, and I heard them running like a locomotive. Nothing in my yard, right? Nothing flipped over. Nothing. Look, I got a shed, a metal shed. I got an old metal shed. Nothing. Listen, I watched sheds ripped up and tore up in different, because me and my wife, we after the day after, we did a reconnaissance. We went around the neighborhood. Devastation. And we didn't even get a direct hit. You know, Sarasota County, Northport, Charlotte. And these places was devastated. Right? Yahuah's judgment. Right? It is. When people hear me and they be like, man, that's not a good thing. Why would you say? Because it is. It is. But see, if you're the righteous, you don't have to worry about that, because He's going to deliver you. That's another thing. All you got to know is that, when tribulation comes, you will know how to deliver you. You will know how to deliver you, right? That thing was supposed to come directly towards us, right? And at the last minute, Yahuah shifted it south. Now we still got hit. We got hit hard because we were just on the outskirts of that eye, right? But listen. Them 140 mile an hour, 130 mile an hour winds was more like 90, 80, maybe 100 on our side. Right? Listen. He wanted me to go through. He wanted me to go through so that I can tell you that you need to understand the importance of the witness. You'll put a bubble over my mouth. The interesting thing is Yahuah told me, he said, he told me 2 days before, he said, you gotta make sure you're prepared. You need to get a generator. I told my wife, because we were going to get a Generac put in. Generator, kick on automatically, because I kept telling her, I said, listen, baby, we need to get a Generac. So we got one approved and estimated, and they told us what it was going to cost, to have it installed, so it'll kick on automatically whenever power go off. We was going to make the move to do it, but the guy was like, oh, it's going to be like 9 months before you can even do it, right? So me and my wife was like, that's 9 months. Wow. So, one thing led to another, you had COVID, a couple of years we made it without anything, You told me to go get a generator. Told my wife, I said, listen, we need to go get a generator. You need to get a generator. So I went and I got a generator. Best investment I could. You see, we still without power. And I don't think it was issues with power, it's issues with gas. It's gas shortages, man. You wait in line. I stood in line yesterday at a pump, right? All I needed was 4 gallons, And it took me almost an hour and a half because the pumps were dripping. There's no pressure in the lines. You know, and the people backed up out on the streets. You know, I'm just rejoicing in you because, you know, tribulation comes. It's okay. Right? I got exactly what I needed. Right? You had told me go get some gas yesterday. So I got up when I got some gas. Pulled right up the gas station. Filled right up. Waited for maybe like 5 minutes. Came back home. Put it into the generator. Right? Said, let me go back and get some more. Went back. Ran out. You were still overdosed. You still give me what I need. Listen. It's hard. It's tough times. It's tribulation. Right? But it's how you endure tribulation. I don't complain. Because I know you will deliver me. Right? I don't complain. Right? We got water. We got plenty of water to drink. Right? Right? We don't have electricity, but we got a generator. And because of the generator, I'm able to go in. Hallelujah. Listen. Tribulation. But these things are coming. These things are coming. These things are coming. They came across us, came across the state of Florida, and then went back into South Carolina on the other side. Listen, Yahuah is going to shake the foundation of Babylon. See, because this is Babylon and Mitzrayim. Right? Right? This is Babylon and Mitzrayim. We left off in Ezra, the 15th chapter. And Ezra is receiving instructions from Yahuah in reference to that which he is to record, right? To make available on paper, right? To be written down, right? So that it can be made available for those that are to come. Because, you know, Ezra, you know, everything they had was burned. Right? Right? Yahuah says, oh, I'm going to get you 5 men. Go put the Ruach in this. Get some people that can write fast. Listen. Yahuah will never allow the world to go without his Torah. Right? Remember the book of Eli? With Denzel Washington. Right? The book of Eli. Right? Right. In the end, you know, the book got taken. But he still went to the place where he needed to go. Right? And he had familiarized himself so much with the word. Right? That all he had to do was recite it. Right? And he recited it all until the time that he died. That's the book of Eli. That's the movie with Denzel Washington in it. The blind man. He was blind, but yet he could see. Listen. Yahuah told Ezra to record the word. And to share it. Don't share it with everybody. Certain books, just share with the wise among you. Right? Put them up. Because they're for a point in time. Right? For a point in time. So, he says, 15th chapter, first verse, behold, speak into the ears of my people the words of the prophecy which I will put in your mouth, says Yahuah, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. See, listen, make no mistake about it, right? The only sure word is the word of Yahuah. The only faithful, true word is the Torah of Yahuah. Right? Because everything Yahuah says by Torah, and by Torah orally or by Torah through the men of Yahuah, right? It's Torah. It's Torah. Right? He says, fear not the imaginations against you, and let not the incredulities of them trouble you that speak against you. For all the unfaithful shall die. In Babylon. All the unfaithful. Those who don't receive the witness. Those who don't receive the Torah that you speak from your mouth. Those who continue to despise Yahuwah's Torah. Those who despise Yahuwah's Torah made flesh, Yahushua HaMashiach. Right? Those who despise him, right? Who won't receive his witness, right? Who won't be born again of the water and the Ruach HaKodesh. Right. All those who don't receive the witness, right? They're going to die. They're unrighteous. The word is going to judge them. It's going to testify against them. The word of Yahuwah that they didn't want to receive, they refused to hear. They said it don't take all of that. I ain't got to go in the water to be baptized. Right? I don't have to receive a Ruach HaKodesh. You're going to die. You're unrighteous. Right? You can't receive the witness. You can't be made righteous through the blood of his atonement. You're unfaithful. You're going to die. Behold, says Yahuwah, I will bring plagues upon the world. Plagues upon the world. The earth is experiencing birth pains. It's in travail. It's waiting for the manifestation of the sons of Yahuwah. Right? They're waiting for the reign of Yahuwah. Yahushua. They're waiting for the rest of Yahuwah. The Shabbat of Yahuwah. The Shiloh come. The rest. Right? They're waiting. He says, I will bring plagues upon the world, and the sword, and famine, and death, and destruction. Listen. That's catastrophic destruction in Florida. There's people who literally, houses have been wiped out. It looks like a war zone. Like, why? Because Yahuwah is sending them. Yahuwah is sending them. See, well, if Yahuwah is sending them, how can I ever escape? See, the witness. Accept the witness of Yahuwah and Yahushua. Right? Be established, be born again in the water of the Ruach HaKodesh. Right? Be born of the water of the Ruach HaKodesh. Listen, there's other people, right, that have made it through this hurricane, and they don't acknowledge Yahuwah's presence. They don't acknowledge that it was him who delivered them. Don't matter. Right? I know who delivered me. I know he's able to keep that which I've committed unto him against that day, that great day. That day in which he's going to send plagues. That day of judgment that is on the earth. Listen, this wickedness of this world is being revealed. It's plain sight. Listen, Yahuah is sending famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Polluted the whole earth. Their hurtful works are being fulfilled. What? The schemes, the treachery, the cloning, the genetic mutations, right? The things that they're trying to introduce, right? The splicing of genes. For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore, says Yahuwah, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness. Now, Yahuwah was prophesying this to Esdras. This was for Ezra, but it was for us at our time, right? It was the word of prophecy. He said, listen. I will hold my tongue no more touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, right? Neither will I suffer them those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves in. They wickedly exercise themselves in. Pornography, idolatry, those things that they worship. They worship. Right? Behold, the innocent and the righteous blood cry unto me. All those that have been byproducts of their wickedness. All of those who have suffered at their murderous hands. All those children that have been diabolically aborted. The righteous blood cries unto me. All those righteous people who have suffered unrighteousness at the hands of the wicked. All those, right? The innocent and the righteous blood cries unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Right? So Yahuwah is continually hearing the souls of those who have suffered at the hands of the wicked, who has passed from this earth. Their souls cry out to you for justice. The blood of Abel cried out. The soul of Yahuwah, the soul of Abel cried out to Yahuwah. He says, and therefore, says Yahuwah, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. I'm going to avenge them. There's no escaping Yahuwah's judgment. right? There's no escaping Yahuwah's judgment. Now, this earth is being judged, right? And we in this Eretz, this nation is being judged. We in this nation have to understand that we know in whom we believed. We have to understand that for us, it's a tribulation. It's a trial. It's a test. It's going to press us. Right? It's going to cause us pressure. Right? But see, what we need to do is we need to be established in this witness. We need to be established in the Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood. We have to have His word in our hearts. We have to meditate. We have to be transformed. Right? And by this we establish ourselves in Emunah. Because the scripture constantly describes Yahuwah's deliverance of the righteous. We just need to bear record of this witness. We need to be able to say, Yahuwah, I trust you. You know how to deliver me. You know how to deliver me. You know how to deliver me. You know how to deliver me, Yahuwah. Yahuwah knows how to deliver the righteous. Right? And those who die, the righteous who die at the hands of the wicked, Yahuwah's going to judge those who has done wickedly. Right? It says here, and therefore Yahuwah says, I will surely avenge. Yahuwah says, I'm going to avenge. Right? I'm going to avenge. Right? Avenge. To inflict harm. Right? To return for an injury or wrong done to oneself or to another. Avenge. Right? Right? Synonyms. To take revenge for. Yahuwah is going to avenge, take revenge for us. Because He told us not to do it. He says He's going to avenge. And not for us to take revenge. Right? He is going to take revenge. He's going to avenge. Right? Take vengeance for, extract retribution for, to requite, to repay someone for something. Right? He's going to inflict harm. He's going to inflict harm. Listen. You don't make mistakes. Right? Yahuwah don't make mistakes. When He sends a plague and people die, He ain't making mistakes. When Yahuwah causes a volcano to erupt and people die and homes are destroyed, right? Yahuwah don't make mistakes. When Yahuwah drops cyclones and it creates devastation and loss of life, Yahuwah don't make mistakes. Right? He says, with the sword, with famine, with death and destruction. When Yahuwah starts to drop bombs on this continent, right? Yahuwah's getting revenge. Somebody says, Yahuwah, it's not Yahuwah, it's Russia. We're a God-fearing nation. Wrong. Yeah, God-fearing. You serve our God. But it's not Yahuwah. And this nation does not fear Yahuah, neither do its leaders. Your leaders are Masons. They're Masonics. They operate in witchcraft. They believe in sacrificing kids. They believe in blood sacrifice. That's why the blood of the innocent is avenging. They're so crying for a vengeance. Avenging. Listen. Hear the word. I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led. Behold, my people is led. Behold, my people, Yasharal, Yahudah, right, is led a flock to the slaughter. Will I not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Mitzrayim? Right? He says, behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. Right? The answer to this is, right? I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Mitzrayim. The land of Mitzrayim? What land of Mitzrayim? It was in Babylon. They were in Babylon. Right? They were in slavery, bondage, right? But he says the land of Mitzrayim. Right? He answers it again. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretched out arm and smite Mitzrayim. He's speaking of another time when he's going to deliver his people. This sure word of prophecy that Yahuah is giving and granting unto Ezra that he is supposed to send forth. This sure word is for us. There go my birds. Birds always start singing when I come in here and I start teaching. I don't hear these birds hardly ever. You hear me? Never. Every time I get in here and I start hallelujah. I hear all I notice things. That I know that it's look. So he says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Mitzrayim with plagues as before, and will destroy all the lands and all the land thereof. All the lands that we have been scattered to in bondage to, Yahuah is going to disrupt, destroy. He's going to do it for his people. Now, he's doing it for the people who are establishing the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. Excuse me. He's doing this for those who have received the witness. Because those who have received this word are wicked. Those who have received the word made flesh are wicked. See, and he's already said, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. You can't receive the witness of Yahushua in Emunah, Yahuwah's Torah, which he said in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Yah, and the Word was Yah. The same was in the beginning with Yah. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. The Word became flesh. That 14th verse of that first chapter of first chapter of Yahukanan, right? The Basora. That Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory as it were of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. You have to receive that Torah. You got to receive that word. You got to receive that word. You got to receive that Torah. You got to receive that Torah. You got to receive that word. You have to. Otherwise, you're going to be destroyed. So it's all in the witness. He is establishing who he's coming to gather. He's gathering his people. But his people are the people who've received the witness of Yahushua. Right? He says here, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm. That's why, you know what, listen. I told you once, I'll tell you again. I want to go to the continent. Yeah. I want to go to the continent. I want to go. 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 I had a dream, right? And I just shared this dream with one other person. It was my aunt. And Yahuah told me to share the dream now, right? In this dream, it starts out as me in this training school room, and we're getting instructions, kind of military, right? Getting instructions on how we need to prepare for a natural disaster, or to prepare for a disaster or a plague or something like that, you know. So, you know, you're talking about some things hypothetically, you know, and da-da-da-da, you know, and, you know, afterwards I get up and I kind of go into what seems to be like an auditorium, right? And there's beds, and, you know, it's the whole thing, beds, and, you know, plastic tarps separating certain stuff, you know, and I'm checking that out. I'm like, man, you know, you're telling us out about it, but, you know, it looks like it's getting ready to go down, right? So, you know, I see this soldier, right? This soldier. He was a European guy, military, like me, right? But he walks in, and he has this glass container, right? And I'm watching him the whole way, you know? And he takes this glass container and he throws it on the ground on purpose, right? And then all of a sudden this gas starts forming, right? And, you know, people, and this is happening fast, and people start bleeding out the eyes and the nose, right? And he sees that I've seen him. So he points to me and says, you gotta stop him, you gotta stop him, right? You know, I took off, right? And dude caught me, and he got some of that white stuff on me, right? I'm sorry, I kept running. And I wiped my hands, I checked my face, and I was like, oh man, I'm bleeding, right? And I said, no, yo, in the name of Yahushua, Hamashiach, no, this ain't happening to me. No. And I'm running, right? I checked myself again, nothing. I mean, there's nothing, right? So I'm running, I'm hiding. And you know, these people looking for me, right? They're looking for me. I'm running and hiding, right? Running, hiding. You know, and I see it. I go into one building, I go out another building, go into one place, go out to another place. And then finally I come out of this one place, and there was a bunch of our people, right? Just being our people, right? Just being our people. No purpose, right? No urgency. None of that. Just like, you know, everything's all good, right? But, you know, it's just a matter of time for them. So I'm running, right? All of a sudden, this car pulls up. I said, come on, get in. So I get in this car, right? So my he was in the front on the passenger side, right? And the driver was a driver. He was one of the girls' father in the back. So there was me and two other women, and I was in the back, right? So I said, listen, man, we got to get out of here. I mean, we got to leave. We got to get out of this country. We got to leave. We got to get out of here. And she says, we got to go to the Republic of Congo. Just like that. Point blank, period. And you know what? It was like a witness. Because I said, yeah, we need to go to the Republic of Congo. As if it was like a confirmation in the heart. Like, We need to go to the Republic of Congo. I said, listen, we need to go now. Right? We need to get on a ship. We need to get on a boat. We need to get out of this country now. Right? That was the end of the dream. I woke up. Now, it's going to hit the fan. It's going to hit the fan. And listen, you're going to have emu now. Right? Because when stuff starts happening around you, and you feel like you got symptoms, oh, you got to speak the word, and you got to have the emu now to go along with it. I was running, y'all. I was running, right? But when I got to the car, they said, come on. She said, I said, we need to get out of here. We need to get out of here. She said, yeah, we need to go to the Republic of Congo. You know, I mean, specific. It was like so specific. It was like so specific. You need to go to the Republic of Congo. And in my ruach, I say, yes, that's where we need to go, the Republic of Congo. Because, you know, you got the Democratic Republic of Congo. Then you got the Republic of Congo, right? And then on the other side, you got Gabon, right? And on top of Gabon, you got Cameroon, right? But you better know, if you're in this United States, you better know that Yahuah can deliver you. You better know that he can put a bubble over your house. You better be established in the witness of Yahushua to the extent that there is nothing that's going to move you. When you hear people screaming and yelling and panic, listen, man, there was panic. People was panicking here, right? Panicking. You know, you couldn't get stuff at the stores, man. Certain things you couldn't get. Hey, got them. Listen, man, we got to the gas station. You got people with filling up these containers with gas. These big containers. The people just trying to get gas for their cars. They filling up these big containers of gas and filling their trucks up with these metal things full of gas. And you saying to yourself, and then, you know, you pull up. And this happened to me. I pulled up to get gas. There's no more gas. It was shut off. It was gone. It was out. I told myself, what? I said, I know you got me. I know you got me. I just know you got me. Right? Don't worry about that. I refuse. Right? You better know. When tribulation comes, because again, tribulation comes for us because it proves us, right? But it's vengeance from you. It's designed to inflict pain, destruction, the sword, to cause the loss of life, wicked life. Because everybody that's not in the witness is wicked. Everybody that is not in this witness is considered wicked. Everybody that does not keep Yahuwah's laws, statutes, and commandment with faith in the witness of Yahushua Mashiach is wicked. You can't get around Yahushua Mashiach's witness. He says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretched out arm, and smite Mitzrayim with plagues as before, and will destroy all the lands thereof. Right? He's going to deliver his people. Right? He delivered me. He put a bubble over me. Right? Did we have to go through the hurricane? Yeah. Right? Right? Like I'm talking infrastructure damage. I'm talking trees that done busted up the cement in the ground. That is over the roads that had to be literally cut into, and the road is just, listen, I'm telling you, man, you better hear the word of Yahuah. You better hear the word of Yahuah. You better be established in Emunah. You better be established in this witness. You better have the blood of Yahusha applied, your sins forgiven, and you better have his Ruach HaKodesh, because that's the seal. I had the seal, right? I had the Ruach HaKodesh. I got the seal, right? Right? That seal covered my household. That seal covered my household, right? Yahuah honored the witness of his Ruach HaKodesh in me. In me. I didn't say my wife. I said me. Right? Right? I love my wife. She ain't got the Ruach HaKodesh. Right? Oh no. She know of Yahuah. She thinks she know of Yahuah. Like, she got to be born again of the water and Ruach HaKodesh. So he covered the house because he recognized the seal, the Ruach in me. He recognized the seal, the Ruach HaKodesh in me. See, and I'm establishing the word. I'm establishing the Torah and the Bazor of truth. Listen, I'm going to preach this witness. I'm going to cry loud. I'm going to spare not. I'm going to lift up my voice. Listen, I'm going to tell you the truth. I ain't going to lie. I'm not going to lie to you. I ain't going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you like this. Had Yahuah and me not been in this house, ain't no telling what would happen. That's why some of your spouses, your husbands, your wives have a degree of protection, because they share the same roof with you. It's not because they have an intimacy of Yahuwah's Ruach that they're established in the water and the blood, right? Right, because Yahuwah sees you. He sees you in your household. Because he sees you. Okay, let's go. He says, Mitzrayim shall mourn, and the foundations of it shall be smitten with plagues and punishments, and Elohim shall bring upon it. Yahuwah is bringing it upon us. He's bringing it upon this world. He's bringing it upon this nation. He's bringing it upon all these nations that participated in the slavery of his people. All those who have died unrighteously. All of those who have died unrighteously. All of those that have died as a result of the Spanish Inquisition. All of those that have died at the hands of Leopold, Belgium, France, and the Dutch. South Africa, the Dutch. Right? Spaniards. The Arabs. their slave trade, the castration. You gonna pay. That's why if you are of the other nations, right, you better get in his witness, because he's gonna visit the iniquities of the fathers unto the children, to the third and the fourth generation of them that hate him. Yeah, your forefathers. Some of y'all know your grandfathers. Some of y'all know your fathers are wicked racists. Right? Right? Your fathers and your mothers and your grandmothers and your great-grandmamas, they was plantation owners. They were slave hunters. I know this. Right? But Yahuah's going to visit the iniquities on you 4 generations down. See, in each generation, it continues. You know, that's why you can't say, oh, well, that was my forefathers. That wasn't me. No, Yahuah gonna hold you responsible, right? Because he gonna visit the iniquities of that father that has passed unto his children to the 3rd and 4th generation. What is it? Generation is 40 years. 40 years, right? So the 4th generation, 4 times 40, what is 100, 4 times 4 is 160 years, right? But every generation, right, that continues in wickedness, it still perpetuates itself. Third and 4th generation, them they hate me. He says, listen, Mitzrayim shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plagues and punishments that Elohim shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn. Farmers. What's happening to the farmers? They can't afford to till the ground. They can't get their government subsidies. They're going to be forced to go into debt. And they're going to foreclose on you. Take your property. Yeah. And Bill Gates going to buy it and create this synthetic Bill Gates got this. He bought a bunch of property. Buying a bunch of property, farmland. Go mourn, brother. Black farmer. You know, you got 100 acres, 1,000 acres. You got all these acres, right? Go mourn, right? This ain't your land. You tilling something that ain't yours. You be better off taking all that equipment while you got the chance. Taking what you got and go over to the continent. Just saying. Because they're going to take it here. It's going to take it. You don't own nothing. You really don't own it. Black man, you don't own nothing. I don't care what you think. You don't own nothing, black man. You don't own nothing. Right? Oh, yeah, I own my house. No, you don't own your house. Right? No, you don't. You pay for that structure. And at any given time, the government can take it away from you. You don't own it. Mitzrayim shall mourn. They that till the ground shall mourn. Right? For their seed shall fail through the blast of hail, seed ain't going to be able to produce. Right? And ain't going to produce. Right? He says, for they shall till the ground, shall mourn, and their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail. Hail. Through the blasting and hail. Right? And with a fearful constellation. Fearful constellation. Not constellation, right? Yeah, let's look at that. Let's look that up. Let's look it up. Constellation. Right? Right? He says, they that till the ground shall mourn, their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail, and a fearful constellation. Right? Now, constellation, right? It's a group of stars, right? Forming a recognizable pattern, right? That is traditionally named after its apparent form or identity, right? Which they say associated with mythology, right? Modern astronomers divide the sky into 88 constellations, which defines barriers. So here we have, right, the heavens, right? Another word for constellation is the heavens. The star system, the solar system, the cluster, nebula, right? Spiral galaxies, right? Stars, heavens, right? Right? So, it says, hail, and with a fearful heavens. Right? It's changing. It's change. Constellation. It's a change. Right? Right? Because in Revelation it said the sun is not going to shine. It's going a third part of the sun, a third part of the moon, third part of the stars. It's constellation. Right? It's going to change. Right? And with this change, right, it's going to affect even how farmers see and understand what's happening to them. It's fearful, right? Now listen, because it ain't normal. It's not normal. He says, listen, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Let's look at this. 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 Ooh. Let's look at this. Revelations beginning at the 8th verse. No, 8th chapter, the 13th verse. Right? He says, listen, 8 and 13. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of the heavens, saying with a loud voice, woe! Woe! Woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpets and the 3 angels which are yet to sound. So they actually occurred after the trumpets. Right? Trumpets, right? He says in that first verse, right? In that 8th chapter, and when he had opened the 7th seal, there was silence in the heavens for a space of a half an hour. Hear a pin drop in the shaman. Right? And I saw the 7 angels which stood before Yahuah, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense. Right? He that should offer it with the prayer of the saints. So the censer had the prayers of the saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne, right? And the smoke of the incense with the prayer of the saints ascended up before Yahuah out of the angel's hands. What did he say here? He says, behold, my people have been led to a flock. He've been led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Mitzrayim, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and with the stretched out arm, and smite Mitzrayim with plagues before, and will destroy all the land thereof. And Mitzrayim shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plagues and punished. Now again, I'm reading Ezra again. I'm sorry, I should have said that I'm in Ezra. Right? And the 13th verse. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blast and hail, and with fire and a fearful constellation. Right? Yahuah says he's going to bring judgment upon these nations. Why? He says, behold, Yahuah, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction, for the wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore, saith Yahuah, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they have wickedly exercised themselves. For behold, the innocent and the righteous blood cries, right, unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Therefore, says Yahuah, I will surely avenge them. Revelations 8:3. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all the Kodeshim upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the censer which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before Yahuah, Elohim Yahuah, out of the angel's hands, right? And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it into the earth. And there were voices and thundering and lightning and earthquakes. Judgment. Right? And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. Right? And the first angel sounded, and there followed hail. Whoa. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood. Hail. Right? He says here, they that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blast and hail. Through the blast. The fire. The blast. You know what? When you think of a blast, you think of combustion, right? You think of explosion. Right? You think of fire. And with a fearful constellation, he says, and there was a voice of thundering and lightning and an earthquake, and the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. Right? So you would just blast the earth with fire and hail. And Mitzrayim, you know, their farmers is like, oh man, what is happening? Right? Fearful. And the second angel sounded as it were a great mountain burning with fire and cast into the sea, and a third part of it became blood. A volcano erupted. Right? A third part of it became blood. The sea. Right? Trumpet. Volcano eruption. Right? Natural disasters. Plagues. He said, listen. And a third part of the creatures which were in the sea had life, died. And a third part of the ship were destroyed. Ships were destroyed. Volcanic eruption. Destroyed a third part of the ships that were in the sea. Yahuah uses natural disasters to establish his balance, to bring forth his judgment. Right? He says here, it turned to blood. See, there has to be a payment. Has to be a payment. Listen. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and the fountains of the waters, and the name of the star is called Wormwood, and the third part of the water became wormwood, and many men died of the water because it was made bitter. Yahuah don't care about the wicked. Yahuah don't care about those that die, that are wicked. Again, you got to understand, he's avenging. This is all about his judgment for what has happened to the Eretz and what was done to his people. The fourth angel sounded, and a third part of the sun was smitten. Right? So now you have a third part of the sun, right, which is going to be taken, smitten, put out, right, which is going to affect, right, the day and night, right? He says, third part of the sun, third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars were smitten, right? Smitten means put out, killed, put out, right? And so the third part of them were darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and likewise, night likewise. Right? Now this is the woe. That's why he says here, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draws near. It's coming. Tribulation's coming. Judgment is coming. Right? It's coming. Listen, listen, listen. He says, and I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of the heavens, saying with a loud voice, woe, woe, woe. Excuse me, to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpets of the three angels, which are yet to sound. Judgment. Right? He says, for the sword and their destruction draw nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and the sword and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard the king, their kings, nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Russia's invaded Ukraine. Ukraine used to be Russia. China wants Taiwan. North Korea wants South Korea. They all want to take out the United States. Because the United States has been a buffer, a blockage, a thorn in their flesh. Right? Right? The United States and this whole Ukraine promotion. They want Ukraine to stay so that they can have boots in the ground in Russian territory. Just like they want to keep and maintain boots in the ground in South Korea. And boots in the ground or a place in Taiwan. See why these nations hate us? Iran, Iraq, Syria, all of the stuff that we've done as a nation in these countries has brought them to this point. Yeah. And then there's inward fighting, right? Because he says, for one people shall stand up and fight against another, and the sword with their hands. And there shall be sedition. Seditions. Sedition. What definition for sedition? Let's look at sedition, right? Sedition. Conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch. Yeah, your president does that. President Biden doing that. Inciting people to rebel against authority. inciting Ukraine, funding Ukraine, sending them billions of dollars, but their farmers, the backbone of their nation, are cut off and struggling. Seditions. Yeah, there's seditions in America. Yeah. Republican parties. They don't like these liberal Democrats. Right? Just a matter of time before these southern states want to annex themselves and be their own country. Seditions. Whoo. Listen. For there shall be seditions among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor their princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. You can't see this? You can't see Russia not putting up with what the U.S. has to say? You can't see how China is not putting up with what the U.S. has to say? Or even Kim Jong of North Korea, right? Let alone Iran. It's going to be judged. Mitzrayim is going to be judged. Babylon is going to be judged. Great whore is going to be judged. Going to be judged. Mitzrayim is going to be judged. Yahuah is going to judge this world. He's going to judge this nation. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. They will have you locked down in cities. Locked down. Can't leave the city. Have people on the border patrols. Where you going? Well, I need to go to Orlando. Can't leave. Turn around, head back home. You ain't gonna be able to leave. You ain't gonna be able to go nowhere. Come out from among her, be ye separate, saith Yahuah. A man shall desire to go into a city and should not be able to. For because of their pride the city shall be troubled, and houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. People are going to be coming ransacking. They're going to fear you. They're going to fear you coming to their house. They're going to shoot you. Your life ain't going to mean nothing to them. Where you go? They ain't going to let you travel. See, you know what? As a nation, we haven't really experienced this. Right? In America, we experienced this. But in some of these other countries, oh yeah. Oh yeah. They got people on borders, the cities, border police, harassment patrols. Listen, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of the pride, the cities shall be troubled, The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And people gonna be ransacking people's houses, going house to house. See, listen, this tribulation, right? If you have the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, Yahuah gonna make a way of escape for you. If you need to leave, he gonna make a way of escape for you. Right? Right? Or he'll cause you to go in and shut the door and wait for the indignation to pass. Right? And then all you gotta do is hunker down and wait. You don't worry about nobody coming and busting in on you. See, where your imunah at? Where is your faith at? See, that's why you better be established in this witness. Right? You better have the Ruach HaKodesh of truth on the inside of you. So that when you read this word becomes life to you. You recognize that when he says he'll never leave you nor forsake you, that is life to you. That resonates in the Ruach HaKodesh in you. You got to understand this. If you don't have this, then guess what? Listen. Men's hearts are going to fail them for fear. I see, and you ain't made perfect in the witness of Yahuah if you fearful. Right? Because Yahuah, perfect love, the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, the truth, right? Cast out fear. Fear is a ruach. And the ruach, that fear comes with torment. That's a ruach. And you can't have a ruach in you when you have the Ruach HaKodesh in you. You know, your house ain't gonna share a house with a demon, a ruach of fear. No. You haven't received that ruach. You've received the ruach of power, Ruach HaKodesh, of love. The Ruach of Yahuah and of a sound mind. You have soundness. Right? You ain't going to cast away your confidence. Right? But if you are fearful, you ain't made perfect in the love of Yahuah. You haven't been made perfect in the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. Listen, if you're afraid of every little thing, listen, you need to be born again. Of the water and the Ruach HaKodesh. You need to have the Ruach HaKodesh, the water, and the blood. Point blank, period. Right? Fearful. You know, you would have told me to open the windows. Look out. I don't open them. Watching it. In my bubble. Wife went to look. She was like, fearful. So I couldn't go in there. I was afraid. I said, afraid? Afraid of what? I mean, who's got us? So, yeah, I know, but, you know. Okay. Better praise Yahuah for the seal on me. Better. Listen, I'm going to tell it like it is. I'm going to tell it like it is, period. Doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter who it is. I'm going to tell it like it is. You understand this Ruach, you better understand this witness. You better understand. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, we're going to stop there. For because of pride, cities shall be troubled, and houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Right? I'm going to read one more verse. A man shall have no pity on his neighbor. Got no pity on his neighbor. Right? But shall destroy their houses. With the sword, he's going to go in and kill everybody. Your neighbor going to come in and try to kill you. If you ain't made perfect in the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. Yahushua tell you to go in and close the door and wait till the indignation to pass. Listen, ain't nobody rolling up in your house with no sword. Right? Yahuwah's got Malachim. He's got protection for you. But you know, this is a tribulation. you're gonna have to stand on something. You're gonna have to stand on the word of Yahuah. You're gonna have faith in the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. You're gonna have the Basor and the Torah of truth and the Ruach HaKodesh renewing your mind and your heart, transforming the way you think. He says, a man shall have no pity on his neighbor, but shall destroy the house with the sword. He coming and killing everybody. Sword. And spoiling their goods. Taking everything that they can have, that they could use. Plundering. Right? Because of a lack of bread. They gonna come in because there's no food. There's no Walmarts. There's no Publix. There's no mom and pops. There's no racetracks. There's no convenience stores. They coming to take yours because they gotta eat. Care about you, I gotta eat. That's wicked. You better know whom you believed. You better know whom you believed. You better trust Yahuah to be your deliverer. Right? When Yahuah starts to manifest to a greater degree tribulation, you better know. Let another country put boots on the ground here in the United States of America. You better know. Let another country drop a nuke on a part of the country. D.C., New York City, right? California. Drop a nuke. You better know. You better know you have a bubble. That you ain't gonna let no nuclear or fallout hit you. You better know. Now y'all wonder, we gonna stop there. He says, listen. For man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their goods, store their house with the sword, and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. Great tribulation. Man, y'all hear the word of you. I've been through the storm. Been through a hurricane. I've been through the storm. Yahuah put a bubble over my house. Put a bubble over my house. You better understand. You better know. Yahuah, I thank you for the words that you have given to me. I've given to them, and I pray that in the name of Yahushua Mashiach, they will receive this Torah, this Basora, this witness, that they will be established in Emunah, that they will develop in righteousness, grow in the Torah and the Basora, by the Ruach HaKodesh's revelation of your word. Yahuah, I pray that your word will be a lamp unto their feet and a light unto their pathway. I pray that the entrance of your word will give them light, and will give understanding to the simple. I pray. Yahuah, I thank you for all that you are and all that you do. I magnify your name. I glorify your name. Yahuah, let the words of my mouth and meditation of my heart, let it be acceptable in thy sight. Yahuah my strength and my redeemer. Man of Yah called to greatness. Woman of Yahuah called to greatness and beautifully and wonderfully made. Today Yahuah has favored you. Listen, you hear a word, share a word. Right? If you hear a word, share a word. Right? If you hear a word, share a word. If it's blessed you, bless somebody else with it. Right? We're trying to reach the lost. With that I say, man of Yah, woman of Yah, listen, enjoy your Shabbat, your feast, and praise Yahuah, but recognize that Yahushua is the fulfillment of it all. He's fulfilled every feast, every Shabbat, every trumpet he has. And as a nation, we remember this because it's our heritage. It's our heritage. It's a covenant that you have made with us. It's our heritage. With that I say, shalom, 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 and be blessed.
Torah guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation.